Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of On Notion Live. My name is Sanja Veletanlic. I'm a Notion Solutions Partner and a certified Notion consultant. And I'm someone who often talks about Notion. And it's not just talking about Notion, it's talking about also how much I love Notion. And that is basically what we are talking about today. Is it a real love? Can someone really love a tool, an app? So I hope that by the end of the show, we will find out. I'm not alone today. I have a guest with me. And this guest is someone who is a ballet beginner, but also used to drive a motorcycle, play piano, and is a rugby player and a future chess master. So, who could that be? It's definitely not me because I don't think I have ever done any of the items from that list. Maybe a little bit of the motorcycle, but nothing too serious. So let's welcome Sandra-Maria. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Thank you for the invitation and the nice presentation of myself.
It's not my presentation. That's actually your presentation. So, hi. Before we start, I would really like you to explain a little bit how did all this happen? How does one do at the same time in one person? How can someone be a ballet dancer, a rugby player, a soccer player, a photographer, drive a motorcycle, play piano? What is, when, how?
So I'm 40 years old, so there was kind of an age that I could do that, but because most of them is in the past, so the ballet thing just started. So I did one lesson. That's why the beginner should be written very big.
Okay.
But of course, I studied photography. I did my motorcycle license when I was 18.
Okay.
But I never owned one. I just love to do it, but it's not.
Like
I bought
a
a
big
car.
motorcycle? Did you drive? Oh, right.
So big.
Okay.
I'm a very small person, so I couldn't get the biggest one, but the one where I put my feet on the ground.
Yeah, I don't have any of that, but I do have a dog that consumes probably all of my time. And she's already barking, even though you saw me before we went live. You are my witness that I did try to handle that. I did try to bribe her.
You gave her everything you could.
Enough. It just wasn't enough. So every time I do a live, I have to go up, to get up, and I have to give her additional amount of peanut butter or something. It just doesn't work without that. So yeah, this is peanut butter and this is my dog here, and let's hope this works now. So if anyone is watching us, please say hi in the chat. Let us know that you are here, and let us know, do you use Notion? Do you love Notion, or do you hate Notion? So whatever it is, we don't judge. We are I think we are ready to hear even the good sides and the bad sides here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just move from your list of everything that you ever done and you still plan to do. We are here today to talk about our love for Notion. I know I saw one of the posts that you wrote, and that kind of, it resonated with me because I also often talk about how it's not just something that I do. It's not just work. I'm really in love with this tool. So I wanted to hear from someone else, how did this actually happen? And what was your experience with Notion? When did you first see it? When did you first start using it? And what were the first feelings that you had?
So I start with the last question. So the first feeling was, I don't understand the hype.
Okay.
So it's like, what is with that white page with that thousands of templates, and I have to have a look at them, and they are not especially for me, so I always had to change them. But for me, it was like the hype I didn't get, the white page I didn't get, and yeah. The first thing when I started to see or use Notion was in 2023, because I had a mentoring, and she was using Notion for working with me. So I was like, okay, and it was really nice. So I had all the information on it. I had the Zoom link, the YouTube video, everything was on there. And it's like, that is nice, because I used Asana at this time, and I was like, I already had everything, I thought. And then this Notion came up, and I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And the first try was not good. So there was no love. It wasn't hate, but it was more like, do I really need it? Do I really need a new tool? But yeah, I'm not a giving up person.
That's actually the exact thought that I also had when I first started using it, because it was also not my choice. I was working for a Dutch startup in 2019, and they decided, that from tomorrow we will start using Notion, something like that. And my boss then said, okay, Sanja, you will be the one who will set that up for us. And I was like, do we really need this? What is this? We already have everything, because we had Confluence, we had Jira, we had Google Drive for docs, for sheets, for folders, for documents. We had Asana as well. We had Toggle. We had all the apps, and it was all working fine. And I couldn't understand, what is it why do we need Notion? It was basically, the idea came from a designer who was working at a company back then. He already fell in love with Notion. He suggested it to the management, and management trusted him and said, okay, let's give it a try. But for me, in the beginning, it was like, do we really have so much time to go on and try out something when we already have everything working? So that was kind of my first thought.
But that's amazing, because it's you were pushed to do it and forced. And if I would have a choice it's like I had the choice and I wanted to do more. But I think I was forced to Asana when I started at the company where I worked before, and I was totally into it. I bought even the stocks. But yeah,
Yeah,
that passion is gone now.
how did that end?
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing to be forced, because then you really have to, and then maybe you get the passion for it. But sometimes you don't get the passion. That's also possible.
Yeah. I'll just say hi to Vicky, who is watching us. She says that you can never have enough tech tools. Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. You can never try enough of tech tools. That's how I would say it. But I'm really trying to reduce the amount that I use, at least on a daily basis. Yeah. Vicky, please feel free to share with us, how did you come to Notion? When was it the first time that you started using it? And what are your thoughts on it now after a while? When we were preparing for this episode, for this show, and we were talking about titles, one of my ideas was something around, are we addicted to Notion? Is this really an addiction, or what is this? So my question here for you is, how would you feel if something happened and, tomorrow you wake up, you turn your laptop or your computer on, and there's no Notion? No, nothing, gone.
That's easy. My whole business, my personal life, my brain would be gone. So yeah, I'm very into it, and I didn't even made a backup for ages. So that would be something I should do if something happens to Notion. But I hope they will grow and grow and never stop working. But if the internet is gone, then everything.
Yeah, if the internet is gone, then I really don't. That's the scenario that I really don't want to think about.
Yeah, yeah. But Notion brings the offline mode soon, hopefully. Then
Yeah.
when it stops, I even have it.
Yeah, I also saw that somebody posted about it. It was kind of like, it wasn't supposed to be published, but it kind of leaked because somebody was sharing a screen from the development team, and they were kind of in the background, they were testing it. So they had this feature, and then somebody noticed, oh no, look, they have the offline mode. So I don't know when it's coming, but it will be interesting. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Uh, Now that we have mentioned the offline mode, we also mentioned backup. I think when we are talking about love, it's also okay to talk about things that maybe we don't really like so much about Notion. So before we go into our love for Notion, how about we clear the air and say, what is it that you don't like about Notion? And I'm saying this now because the three things that I think are probably the least liked is this: that backup is really not the easiest thing in
Oh
Ocean,
yeah.
and there's still no offline mode, and then there are also permissions that could be handled a little bit better. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I found some recently mentioned to me. Also the permissions definitely. So the permissions, especially for databases, that's something I heard will come, and they're working on it. Then Notion Mail, I tried like over 10 times. I know it's a new feature, but I cannot log in because I found out my Gmail email address is not the same as my Notion account email address. And if they don't match, you can't log in. I think that's something easy to fix. So please do that if you listen to me, Notion developers. And one other thing, client colleague of mine mentioned, because she was invited to one of my workspaces, and she wanted to have this workspace under her normal pages. And I was like, that's not possible. Like for me, it's like, it's not possible. So it's not there. Forget it. But for her, it was like, no, but then I'm not clicking to your workspace that often. And I don't see I don't see it. So I don't click on it. And if I need something from her, that would be something improvable, so that the workspaces I'm invited, or it's just a page I'm invited to, that I can
Mhm.
see it more clearly under the, even though on the shared I see it, but if it's, when you click on the account, then you see the
Mhm.
pages, but not under the normal menu. I don't know how to.
Yeah.
So that's something, yeah, could be improved. But and one thing also to mention, it's very complicated. So for all of my clients, they always need explanation. So like for, if I compare it with Asana, you have everything. So there is a structure, but because of this white page or the thousands of templates, you don't know what to start first, and you have so many options to do
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah, that's the paradox of choice, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know there if you've heard about it before. There's a book from, if I remember the author correctly, I think it's Barry Schwartz. He wrote a book, and there's also a nice TED talk on it. So for somebody who doesn't want to read a book, about the paradox of choice, that the more choice that we have in general in life, basically, that it doesn't make us happier, but it makes us more confused. And then even when we kind of reach a decision, when we do make that choice, we are still unsure whether that was the right choice or maybe we should have done it differently. So yeah, that is one thing, even though many say, Notion is super simple and you can do everything. You don't have to know anything about databases and so on. But I do agree that also from my experience, people do get confused and they do get lost and they fall into some rabbit holes there. So they do need help with setting up the structure and kind of removing the excess and just focusing on what really matters for them at the moment. So yeah, that can be a thing. From my perspective, I think what I miss the most, and that mostly comes from me working with clients, is the granular permissions. So that's something that, I know we have some workarounds and stuff like that, but it's still not as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really hoping that someday soon we will have that. So it's not perfect. It definitely has its flaws, but we still love it. So why?
It's the other side because of the individuality and what you can do and too many choices. That's also the positive thing.
Yeah.
So I always take Asana as my comparison because that was my love before I changed it to Notion. And it's like I can do everything. I can really like build it for me, like how I think, like how my brain works. I can build that thing. And that's with the, for example, ClickUp is something I really hate. ClickUp, that's something I hate working with because we are not matching.
Yeah, I get that. I have the same feeling actually. I tried ClickUp. I was working on ClickUp with one of the clients, and okay, I can do the work, but it's not really something that drives me. And with Notion, I have the feeling that when, just a second, sorry. Ela, ne sad, nema ništa više. Ne sad, lezi na krevetić, mir, gotovo je. Lezi na krevetić, nema sad. That was me saying, Ella, not now, please. Go lie to the bed. Not now, please. Please, please, please. And she actually did it. Okay.
Well trained.
Oh, let's not go into that. Yeah, Vicky just mentioned in the comments something about GDPR, and I understand the concern. I just have maybe something to share, but I'm honestly not sure whether I'm supposed to. But I know that Notion is working on developing something that will make it also GDPR compliant. So a version with servers that are in Europe and so on. But I don't have all the information. I'm not in that group who is testing it. So I just saw that they are doing it. So Vicky, maybe soon you'll also be able to do that. There's also Anup here. Hi, Anup. Happy to have you here with us. You say that you document everything for clients, designs, research. And if everything, if Notion would be gone tomorrow, so your clients' data would be gone too, and your clients would be gone as well. Yeah, I understand. I think nothing like that will happen, really. So it's too big now for it just to go away. It grew really fast and it just keeps on growing and growing. So I don't think we have to fear that. Okay. So we already mentioned a lot of tools, but I'm wondering, can you actually name the tools that Notion has replaced for you?
Yeah, so of course Asana
Okay.
and all the office tools mostly like Google
Mhm.
Sheets, Google Docs. So I put everything in there. I can put I have the formulas, I have the tables. So mostly I'm using Notion and only
Mhm.
for my clients because they like to share Google Docs or something. I'm using Google Docs or Office as like Microsoft Office things. But for me personally, all my project management tools I tried are gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I also, sometimes get some of the documents shared from other tools from if you're collaborating with people,
Yeah.
or I don't know, you hire some for example, you hire a copywriter, and then I still get documents sent either by Word in an email, and that's kind of, like, really, are we still doing that? And a
Yes.
little bit better it's when they share like a Google Doc version, but still I feel like you could do so much better, because when I'm trying to write something and when I do that in a Google Doc or when I do it in Notion, I just feel that I'm doing a much better job when I do it in Notion. I mean, in the beginning, I really couldn't explain this. I couldn't explain why. It's something that happened to me when I first started basically creating and working on a completely new project. So, something that was not done before, something that was new, and something that was supposed to be just, built up from scratch. And when I started doing that in Notion, I realized that my ideas are better than they usually are. And I'm more creative and I'm more productive. I mean, I was able to, create a draft of something in much less time. And it was fun. Uh, it was creative. It had some substance in it. And it was such a good feeling when that happened. So this is also the reason, when I see somebody still using like Google Docs, but you don't know what you're missing.
I'm even trying the shortcuts from Notion in one of the other docs
Yeah.
because I'm so into. I was like, it's not working here.
Yeah, or moving blocks,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How is your current setup different from something that you used in 2023?
So now I'm not the design person. So for me, function it has to function. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter if it looks really really nice. But now because I'm creating for my clients and I get inspired by my clients' ideas as well, I having now headers with images and all in my CI, and everything looks very nice now. But when I started, it was like, okay, I need the link page there, and as there, I need the to dos there, the projects there, and databases, and that's it. Now it looks really nice, but in the beginning, I have to work with it. I have to understand it, and yeah, so that's the big difference, the looking nice factor.
Yeah. I'm going to share with you
Ooh.
something. So, this is basically one of my first ever setups from 2019 when I first started using Notion. So I'm not going into details, but you see how these were basically my tasks. And then they were separated in, what's overdue, what's today. And then these are all in toggles. We didn't have
Yeah.
tabs back then. And then, if something needs to be updated, you should update the dates in the filter. So it was quite different back then. But my discipline is not working. Ela, ne sad, lezi na krevetić, nema ništa, ne sad. Oh, sorry.
Not worries.
I think she knows that we planned for this session to be a little bit shorter than usual. So let's kind of wrap it up. But before we actually do, I would still like to hear from you. For anyone who is still not using Notion, what is it that you or your clients use Notion most for? So, okay, you said personal and business, but what? What are you tracking for your personal stuff, and what for your business and for your clients as well?
So, of course, I track mostly business stuff. For example, my finances, everything is in there. I know how much I made the last year. I know how much I made the last couple of months. Then I have all my clients, but to be GDPR, I only have names there and the email address. I know it's email address is maybe already a problem, but I have it in my data privacy thingy. Then of course social media stuff, so like all the content, everything is planned in there, like all the LinkedIn stuff is planned in Notion. I love it. So it's I can do it however I want, like with the calendar, with the boards, that's, and the products, of course, I'm building the products in Notion, not just the templates I build in Notion, but also like what is the product about, like brainstorming. I also have the Notion AI, so I'm brainstorming there. So I don't really have to go out of Notion to work in my business.
Yeah.
And for personal stuff, this is I also love tarot, like the tarot cards. So I have, for example, things like that in there. So I know I have a lot of hobbies and interests. They all go in there. Or for example, essential oils. I know, totally different thing. I have an inventory, which I have because I have a lot. So yeah, I'm getting a bit crazy of everything I like. I get crazy about it.
That's so cool. Okay. In the end, what would you like to say to somebody who is now, thinking, should I maybe try Notion out? Is it good for me? Is it good for my business? Do you have some kind of advice for people like that?
So if I ask first, so what do they need? So if they would say Notion is not always the best thing. So for people who really like the strong structure, and also if they are other thought, but if they like, of course, structure, but if it's okay, if it's individually, so they can like really change everything. Most of them are afraid of deleting stuff in Notion. That's what I heard today from my client. She's like, I didn't try. I was afraid to do anything, like to not delete anything. It's like, you can delete that, but please don't delete the main database.
Yeah, and there's undo.
Yeah, there's undo, of course, but as soon as something is deleted, they would be, what? Everything is gone. So yes, so I think you can do everything with Notion, but I think you need to be the right type for it. I wouldn't. So I know a lot of people who hate Notion, working also in online business, and yeah, they can't work with it. It's not in their brain.
Yeah, I agree. When somebody, sometimes, I have clients reach out and they're kind of in between tools and they're deciding, should we go to Notion or something else? And they ask me, what is my opinion? And I always usually ask, did you even try it? Did you even try to use it for at least 1 week? And what's the feeling that you have? Does it feel natural to you, or is it, does it annoy you? Because I think it's also important to have a good feeling about it. And then if you
Mm.
do have that, then we can build something, then we can talk about your processes, then we can build basically almost anything in Notion. But if you already start with, kind of like a bad feeling, like, I don't like this and this is stupid and stuff like that, then no, why force something on yourself? Because this is something that you will need to use basically every day. So you have to be comfortable with it. Same thing as when you're choosing a car. So it has to feel right, when you sit in it. So, and another thing that I'd like to say is also, you mentioned the change. If people are not accustomed to change, then Notion is probably not the tool for them,
Yeah.
because how things look today in the menu, for example, and how you see some of the options, that will most likely change in the next month, because it keeps getting better and it keeps developing. So things are changing and things are being added on, things are being improved. So if you're someone who wants to have the same thing today and in 5 years, then this is probably not the tool for you. But also, another thing, if you do like it, but you feel like, it's kind of overwhelming. Vicky mentioned she was watching YouTube videos. I was doing that too a lot, because at that time I didn't really have much other choice than, you have to learn something quickly, and you start watching videos. But I would say, don't be afraid to ask for help. Either in some groups, people are really willing to share the knowledge. So don't lose a week trying to do something on your own and failing and failing and failing. Just try to ask for help, because the Notion community is really, really wonderful. And I think people will be really happy to help.
Yes, well said.
Yeah. And if you're needing Notion for your company, you can also hire Sandra-Maria, and she will explain everything that you need to know, or you can hire me as well. So this is also another way to learn how to use it, but also to kind of speed up the learning curve. Anything that you would like to add for the end?
Just thank you that I was allowed to be here. Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity, even though I was very nervous and I was thinking like yesterday, oh God, should I really do that? I was like, I'm just talking to Sanja.
Yeah,
Half an
exactly.
hour.
And you were great. You were great. And I'm really happy that I had someone like you who also shares, my love for Notion, and that we could kind of, chat about it. And I hope that the love will stay strong.
Definitely.
Thank you, Sandra-Maria.
Thank you.
And if anyone would like to connect with either Sandra-Maria or with myself, you can find us on LinkedIn. Feel free to send a connect request. I hope you agree, Sandra.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
I didn't ask this before, so now I just realized, yeah, I'm telling people to connect with her, but I didn't ask if that's okay, but I hope it's okay. Oh my God.
That's why we are here on LinkedIn, I would say.
Yeah. We are at the moment we are on LinkedIn, on my Facebook, and on YouTube. So yeah. Thank you to anyone who was watching this. If you have any questions about Notion, feel free to send a message, ask, or whatever. And I hope we will see each other soon again in another episode that will be about, well, Notion. Have a nice day, people, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.